Okay, so I guess it's time to talk about e-commerce now. So thank you everyone for joining. My name is Francisco Guzman. I am the, I always have problem with my title. Oh, yeah, there we go. I have to bring up the slide. The Director for Small Business Services for Harlem Community Development Corporation. I help put together these type of events, among other things, for Harlem Community Development Corporation. And, but again, I don't do this by myself. I have a lot of good friends and institutions and entrepreneurs that help me put this together, including, the Harlem Business Alliance, the Women Chamber of Commerce, SCORE, the AMBLYN group, you name it, they all there. They all help me put this thing together. So if I'm successful, it's because the help that I get from them. I say I mean Harlem CDC program. It's because of all the help that I get. But that's Curtis' specialty to talk about our partners. Curtis, tell us a little bit about partners that help us do these great events.
Put it together. Absolutely. Francisco, once again, thank you, my brother. Like I said, a yeoman's job, you pivoted on a dime immediately when we went into lockdown. So, and Francisco, this is literally going into 1 year now. So bravo. But like I said, will be so happy when it is in our rear view. I definitely, as you said, we don't do this alone. We need those strategic partners such as the Harlem Business Alliance located at 275 Malcolm X Boulevard. And of course, hopefully, good old Darryl T. Downing is right in the audience there, because Darryl T. really keeps it real and makes sure that if you are a small business, that they can get you those particular resources. One of them in particular, of course, is the certification, MWBE certification for small businesses to do business with who? With the city of New York. And also they have a co-locating workspace also located at 275 Malcolm X Boulevard. Their number 212-665-7010. Next one, of course, is the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce, located at 1524 Amsterdam Avenue. And besides also providing some one-on-one counseling and business resources, they also have a wonderful program called Explore West Harlem, where you're able to actually learn about the culinary delights and also some of the small business shops that offer one-of-a-kind trinkets that speak to the West Harlem experience. They are also, like I said, located there in West Harlem at 1524 Amsterdam, and their telephone number is 212-491-9640. All right. And as you said, Francisco, those partners, SCORE, NYC, who we've done a number of workshops with, and of course, Start Small, Think Big. And then, Lord knows, I've been so excited because she kind of like disappeared from the radar, but she is back. And that because we first got acquainted with her when she was running the Washington Heights bid. And now with the AMBLYN group, she's just doing spectacular work. And Francisco, she's our friend, Miss Angelina Ramirez.
Thank you.
Yes, she is. Yeah, she's a wonderful presenter. She's I must say that Angelina, you are one of my favorite presenters.
Thank you.
Because you have an art, the art to teach, and you make it so easy to understand.
Exactly.
The audience will probably agree with me at the end of this webinar. Of those who have seen Angelina in action, know that already. She makes it very simple, and it's like, wow, this is a lot simpler than I thought it would be. But oh, by the way, before I forget, this webinar is being recorded, and if you request a copy of the link to the recording, you will get it. Once again, do not ask me for it on the chat. In the chat, you send me an email. It happens all the time. People still write their email in the chat. It's not going to work. Send me an email requesting it. My email is right there on the screen, francisco.guzman@ehd.ny.gov, and I might send you a copy of the presentation. Depends on on Angelina's decision to
Mm.
do that or not. So anyway, this is Angelina's show. Angelina, take it away. Do your thing, girl. Thanks, everyone.
Right.
See you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Francisco, and thank you, Curtis. I think I've been working, with Harlem CDC now for 3 years already, if not longer. And, it's really a joy because I feel that, small businesses today, especially today, need help now, more than ever, right? And, my background is in marketing and business development. And I sometimes feel that, either marketing takes a back seat or, marketing intimidates. And so that's why I really like, to stress during my presentations, that it doesn't have to be intimidating. It doesn't have to be scary. This actually is my favorite presentation because I honestly give you like the step-by-step guide on how to launch your e-commerce business. But what I also do is give you a brief background or a tutorial, right, on what marketing is. Because in the end, the purpose of marketing is to help you drive awareness for your brand, personal or product or service, and to get sales, right? Just because you build a website doesn't mean people are going to know about it. You have to drive awareness and foot traffic to your website, right? So yes, I'm going to help you understand the process of launching your e-commerce site, but I'm also going to help you understand how to get business from your site. So that being said, let me update, see how to upload the presentation.
At the bottom, there's a share button at the bottom.
It's not highlighted.
No, the very bottom, at the very bottom of the screen, it's a mute, start video, and then share.
Yeah, the share is it's not
It's not active?
it's not active. It's like it's not highlighted.
No, because you are the presenter now. So let's try share from the top bar. Top. No, you have to upload some reason. So your share is not active?
No.
And you are the presenter. Let me make myself the presenter, then give it back to you again to see what's going on.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone. Yes. Did anything change now on the share button?
No.
All right. Can you can you email me the presentation
Yes.
so I could upload it myself?
Absolutely.
You have to send it to my Gmail address, please.
Of course.
Sorry, everyone, for the delay. Just give us a couple more minutes, okay?
And now you have it, Francisco. So feel free to provide to anyone.
Okay, PDF format.
I'm sorry?
I will do it that in PDF format.
Okay. I sent it to you in PowerPoint.
Okay.
Yes. But feel free to send it to anyone who is interested in the content.
Okay. Do you send it to my Gmail account by any chance?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
It didn't get here yet. Sorry, everyone, for the delay. There we go.
Yeah. I'll just talk, there's a page about my background. So I worked in corporate America for over 10 years. I worked at brands such as Pepsi, American Express, and I was even on, worked for Philip Morris on the Marlboro brand team. And so during those experiences, I really focused on building brands, right, and executing marketing campaigns. Back then, many moons ago, we've mainly focused on traditional, so TV, radio, print, and then obviously with my later experiences, focusing more on digital. And I even went back and got a certification in digital media. So after 10 years in corporate, I decided to go the nonprofit route. And as Curtis stated, I was the director of a nonprofit in Northern Manhattan called the Washington Heights BID. And with that experience, I helped small businesses, right, providing them with capacity building, helping them with MWBE certifications, helping them with their marketing, and really focusing on more grassroots. So approximately 2 years ago, I decided to leave the BID and go the entrepreneurial route and launch my own business. So a lot of what I do is help businesses, with their marketing, whether it's developing their website, helping them with social media, or even developing their brand. I also help with MWBEs. So as Curtis stated, getting an M or a W, minority or women or service disabled veteran certification is extremely important, right? Francisco is great at helping people get the certification quickly, assuming you have all your documentation. But once you do get your certification, what happens, right? You have to respond to RFPs. And sometimes that can be difficult for certain, businesses, right? So that being said, I help businesses that are certified not only find out about contracts, but help them respond to it as well through the RFP process. So now that the presentation is up.
See if you can move, Angelina.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So, like I said, today with the AMBLYN group, I help not only with marketing, but also with business development. So let's get started. As I said, this is one of my favorite presentations because I really walk you through the process of what it takes to launch an e-commerce business. From a very, step 1, step 2, step 3. But, I've been teaching since I was 16 years old. So in one way, shape, or form, did different types of courses, whether it was kids, whether it was small businesses, whether it was about nutrition. And so I always like to level set, right, and provide a foundation so that you understand the entire picture, right? And so once I do that, then we talk about e-commerce, because e-commerce fits into a larger marketing strategy. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'll provide foundations of marketing, talk a little bit about trends and research, define what e-commerce means, and then we'll talk about the steps of launching it. So marketing, right? I have a degree in marketing, again, like I said, many moons ago. And, marketing, especially today, changes, day by day because of, digital being such a revolutionary, but also such an innovative space that is constantly changing. But, there are certain things that are really important that transcend time. And that's what we're going to talk about. So when we talk about marketing, we talk about marketing in terms of the 3 C's, right? First, it's the company. Then we look at your consumer, and we also look at the competition, right? So those are 3 things that are really key when it comes to marketing. So the first C is company. And by company, I mean your company, right? It's important for you to understand, especially if you're looking to launch a business, what is it going to be, right? What industry? Are you going to, launch a clothing business? Are you going to, launch a marketing business? And what exactly are you going to be offering? And this is important because when you figure that out, right, you have to do a couple of things. Is there a need for my product in the marketplace, right? And how am I going to communicate what exactly I am offering, right? And so what do I stand for? What are my goals, mission, and vision? Now more than ever, right? People care about the product and the company, where it's being made. Whether it's it here in the United States or abroad. Is it child labor? Fair wages? What do you stand? And especially with cancel culture, people are recognizing that there is power with the purse. And so I could choose to support a certain company, or I could choose to boycott a certain company. So mission and vision are critical. And not only are they critical to understand, but to communicate, because especially today, and millennials in particular, they look at that, right? And then you look at the culture of the company, and especially with your employees, and ensuring that it's an environment, right, that is innovative, that is supportive, that is equitable. And then looking at your short and long-term goals, right? So these are some questions that you should, if you've already launched your business, you should have a good understanding. Or if you're going to launch a business, these are things for you to consider, especially if you're looking for partners or financing. This is what will go into your business plan. So it's a great exercise, understanding your company, what industry it's going to be in, what are you offering? Is there, a need for it? Is there demand? What do you stand for? And what are your goals? The second C we're going to talk about is competition. And that's really important, right? Because if you're going to launch a clothing business, you have to see, well, who is my competition, right? And what I mean by that is you have to do research. How much are they charging, right? What is, where are they made? And what are the differentiators, right? Why do people go to them, right? Because in the end, you want people to come to you. Now, when we talk about competition, we always think about it as direct and indirect competition. So I always ask this question: who is McDonald's competition? And generally, people say Burger King, right? But the fact of the matter is, you have to take a step back and ask, what need does McDonald's actually meet? The need of hunger. So it doesn't necessarily have to be another burger place like a Burger King or a Wendy's, right? It could be any other type of food that really, meets my hunger need. So Subways, pizza, Chinese food, any other type of food is really competition for McDonald's. The difference is whether it's direct or indirect. Direct competition is the exact type of business. So for McDonald's, direct competition is Burger King. Indirect is, again, meets the need, but is not the same thing. So for McDonald's, Subway's is competition, not necessarily direct. And it's important for you to understand this concept, because when you're launching your business and you want to know, who else out there is your competition, you have to look at direct as well as indirect. And some of the things you can do to find more information about your competition, obviously you can go to their website. You can go and look at their social media. You could sign up for e-newsletters if they have them, and you can see what it is, that they email to their clients. If it's a retail establishment, right, brick and mortar, you could go to their store. You could call their customer service, right? There are many ways in which you could do your research and be a spy. What I will say is this: when you're thinking about how you're going to compete with your client, with your competition, and how you're going to be better, it's important for you to not compete on price, right? If you want to say we're open later hours, or we're open on the weekends, right? Or if you want to say free shipping, or if you want to say, we have, if you're a doctor, that you have more experience, more knowledge, certain degrees, your specialty, et cetera, that's fine. But you don't want to compete on price. And generally, when I teach this class, I'll ask people, why do you think that's so? And the reason you don't want to compete on prices, generally, when something is cheaper, there's generally a reason why, right? Maybe customer service is not so good. Maybe the product itself is made of cheaper ingredients or cheaper materials. It always gives the idea of something just not being as good as because it's cheaper, right? So if you're going to compete, right, with with your competition, and you want to talk about how you're different and better, right? Because you want to take competitive advantage. You could talk about everything else, and you can say offering competitive pricing, right? That's kind of the way that you say, we're in line, or maybe we're a little better, but not that we're cheaper, because cheap connotes lower quality. So be careful when you are differentiating yourself from your competition. So again, when we look at competition, you want to understand, who your competition is, direct and indirect. Do some snooping or spying and find out, what makes your competition tick, right? The pricing, the product, how they promote it, and look in how you can be, and then analyze and determine how you could be better than them, right? Learn from their mistakes, but again, don't ever compete on price. Again, talk about your product or your service in ways that they are better. Now, the third C is consumer, and I leave it last, but it's actually the most important one. Oh, sorry. Am I on the right page? Yes, I leave it last, but it is the most important one, and that is consumer, your target audience. Now, as I said before, right, I used to work for Pepsi. And for those of you that don't know, right, Pepsi is, when you look at Pepsi, Pepsi has a lot of beverage brands underneath Pepsi, right? So it's PepsiCo, and then there's Pepsi, the cola, there's Mountain Dew, the Sierra Mist, many products. Under Pepsi, there are a lot of products. Diet Pepsi, Pepsi Pepsi Max, there's Cherry Pepsi, a whole host of Pepsi products. But let's take Diet Pepsi. Who do you suppose Pepsi focuses on, or who's the target audience for Pepsi when it comes to Diet Pepsi? A lot of people don't know this, but it's actually what they consider to be boomers, people that are in the age range where their health might not be so good, right? Maybe they're suffering, maybe they're overweight, maybe they're diabetic, maybe they have hormonal imbalance, but Pepsi spends its marketing dollars for Diet Pepsi on boomers, approximately 40 to 65-year-olds, 45 to 65-year-olds, right? So even Pepsi, who is a huge global company, recognizes that they don't have unlimited marketing funds, and they have to determine who their target audience is and spend money towards them. Now, does it mean that people that are not boomers, don't drink Pepsi? No, of course. Teenagers, maybe, young teens that are interested in controlling their, weight may use Diet Pepsi. People in their 30s, right, who are trying to also maybe manage their weight, or maybe they also may have health issues, drink Diet Pepsi too. But when we're talking about target audience, it's looking at who the majority, right, of the people are that are going to use your product. That's your primary target audience. And it's important that you reach out to them, because they're going to be the lowest hanging fruit. They're the ones that are going to be most interested in your product. They're going to be the ones that are easiest to convince to use your services, right? So when we look at target audience, right, we look at a couple of things. Gender, right? We look at whether it's male or female. Age, you could go from, is this targeted to, teens, young adults, boomers, older people? You could look at marital status and whether they have children or not. You could look at whether, education level matters, or even if they're employed. So I'll give you an example. Lululemon. For those of you that don't know Lululemon, it's a clothing retailer. It's been around for a while. It's higher on the price point for, this is what's called athleisure. So clothes that are very much athletic wear, but people can wear them every day. A lot of people that do yoga or spinning or into, physical fitness use this brand, but they tend to be a little on the expensive side. So who do you imagine Lululemon targets? Well, first of all, I already said it's athleisure, it's clothing, mostly like yoga and cycling. Their target audience is mostly women. And their target audience is mostly 18 to 35-year-olds. For them, marital status doesn't matter, right? You could be single, you could be married and have kids, doesn't matter. That's why I put NA. Income does matter because Lululemon is a little bit on the expensive side. It's not like we're going to go to Walmart or Target and get some tights that are maybe 10, 20, 30 bucks. Lululemon tights sometimes can be upwards of $100, if not, even $150. So it's expensive. So that's why the income level matters for Lululemon. So Lululemon's competitive advantage, right? Very high quality, and their customers are extremely loyal, right? Even their material it's actually patented because they do wicking so that it doesn't retain bad odors when you work out and you sweat. And they have great customer service. So, companies maybe like Nike, maybe like, other, Adidas compete with Lululemon, right? However, Lululemon is very targeted towards women, whereas Nike and Adidas, theirs is more mixed, a little more male than female, and people that are more urban, and also, more trend setting. Whereas Lululemon is more about the physical fitness piece of it and the branding of it. So this is an example of the exercise that you should do. Understand your consumer, who it is, age, gender, interests, income, and even, we're going to talk a little bit more about some other items too. But the 3 C's are your company, your competition, and your consumer. It's important for you to understand that. The other thing that's important for you to understand with your consumer is their interest. Like I said, Lululemon, they're into their athleisure, right? Yoga, physical fitness. So the psychographics of the consumer is important. And when I say psychographics, what that means is, the things that they enjoy doing, their hobbies, their interests, their beliefs, even some of their fears and challenges, right? Like for Lululemon, hobbies, right? Physical fitness, right? But other brands, religion might take into account, political affiliation, social affiliation, and even things like, if the psychographic, right? If a consumer is worried about their finances and they don't really, have a lot of money, then maybe Lululemon might not be interested in going after them, right? As a target audience, because Lululemon is pricey and is expensive. So it's important for Lululemon to understand the target audience in terms of demographics, as well as the psychographics and interests. Now we're going to go into, we spoke about the 3 C's. Now we're going to talk about the 4 P's. And this is very important, right? Because this talks about, and again, this is the foundations of marketing. The 4 P's are product, price, place, and promotion. And we talk about this because this is how you are going to communicate to your clients. All this work is important when you for you to understand when you launch your business and you're prepared to build your e-commerce site. You have to understand, okay, what product am I providing, right? What is it, a service? Is it an actual thing, right? Is it clothes? Is it cars? Is it, jewelry? What product? Or is it a service? Landscaping, marketing, right? How much am I going to charge? Am I going to be higher on the price scale, like I said, like a Lululemon, or am I going to be more discount price, right? Or am I going to compete more with like mass and market? Where am I going to sell? Am I going to have a retail establishment, Or am I purely just going to be online, since this is a class talking about e-commerce? And then promotion, how am I going to promote, right? Am I going to use some traditional ways, right? Like I said, TV, radio. Am I going to put ads in newspapers? Am I going to have events? Am I going to use flyers, right? Very traditional, expensive ways of marketing. Or am I going to promote using digital? This is an e-commerce site that we're talking about today. So obviously digital is the way to go. But this is important for you to understand when you're thinking about launching your business, to understand not only the 3 C's, but also the 4 P's. What am I selling? What price am I going to offer it? Where am I going to be offering my services and selling it? And how am I going to promote it? And so when you're promoting, and we spoke about this a little bit before, it's important for you to understand, especially when you're trying to determine your marketing budget, right? Traditional, very expensive. I'll give you an example. Like I said, I worked at Pepsi, and at the time, and again, this is many moons ago, we created a commercial with Justin Timberlake. Just to produce the commercial alone, just the commercial, was $5 million. Then we actually had to place that commercial on TV. So as you can imagine, extremely expensive to do TV. Radio is a little cheaper, but if you're trying to do a national spot, right, versus a local radio station, that can get very pricey. Even being in a magazine or newspaper can be really expensive. A lot of people create what's called collateral. So your brochures, maybe you want letterhead with your logo on it, business cards, or promotional materials. Maybe you want to create pens with your names on it or little pads. And then, you know, if you're going to do sales or hire salespeople or do public relations, that's all traditional. And then digital, which I highly recommend, and which is a lot less expensive. Obviously, you're going to build your website, but we're also going to talk about today digital ads, and we're going to talk about social media. So we're going to go really deep into, once you build your website, how are you going to promote it? Okay, so just a little bit, you know, about trends in the marketplace. And this is a little dated, but you can imagine, right? 2017, you know, online sales were 461 billion, you know. In 2019, they were 602 billion. The numbers still haven't completely come out for 2020, but especially with COVID, as you know, companies have broken records when it comes to online, and now more than ever, having an online presence is really key. And then, you know, unfortunately, some retailers have fared well, you know, and some have not and have closed, like Lord and Taylor and some other ones, or some of them have gone into bankruptcy, or you know, have really diminished, you know, presence, and have had to close locations, right? So COVID has really changed the marketplace. And so launching your e-commerce site today is now more than ever extremely important. Okay, so let's define e-commerce. So this is more, you know, Webster's dictionary: the purchase, sale, and exchange of goods and services through the internet, where transactions or sales terms are made electronically, right? So that's pretty straightforward. This is the reason why. Advantages to e-commerce. Number one, there's no time. It's not like a store opens at 7, or, you know, especially in COVID, right? A lot of stores open at 11 a.m. today, and then they're closing at 7. And maybe they're only Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday. E-commerce, 24/7. So you can run your business all the time, right? You can buy faster and sell faster, right? It's easy for people now. All I have to do, you know, this morning I was like, I need a silk shirt, you know, in the color pink. So, you know, I was getting, you know, results, countries, you know, beyond the United States, and Italy, and, you know, from China, and from all across the globe. So it's really democratized global business, and there are no limits now. Geographically, you can get products from anywhere, right? Now, when people, 2-3 years ago, when people would say, oh, I want to start, my business and I want to open up a location. I said, do you really understand all the costs that go into opening up a location? The rent, electricity, water, insurance. I mean, even the cleaning of it, right? So opening up a brick and mortar store, an actual retail establishment, is extremely expensive. E-commerce, very, very inexpensive. It's fractions compared to what it would cost. And to open one up is just as easy as we're going to talk about today, right? Understand though that there are expectations with e-commerce sites, right? Just as easy as it is to buy something, the customer will expect good customer service and continuous conversation, especially the tracking of where your product is, and fast delivery, whether they're paying for it or not. So understand that as much as you'll be saving money with a retail establishment, not having to do the brick and mortar and the rent, you still have to invest in great customer service, because competition, especially today, is really high in the online space. Okay, so like I said, I love this presentation because I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on how to launch your e-commerce site. And this is the money page, right? This is essentially the flow chart, and we're going to be talking about each one of these things. First thing you have to do is register your company. And what does that mean? You're going to find out. Literally talking about letting the state know that you've launched your business. Then you have to create your brand, your logo. We're going to talk a little bit about that and use some best practices from my experience in corporate. Then you have to register your domain name. And that might seem easy, but finding a name today is actually quite hard. A lot of them are taken, but there are some innovative ways for you to be able to find cool names that pertain to you, but a lot of names are taken. And we're also going to talk about some great best practices on naming conventions, meaning you don't want a long name or you don't want funky spelling because people are not going to find you. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we'll talk about selecting a platform, meaning the actual site where you're going to build your e-commerce site. We'll talk about the design of your website and some best practices there. And then we're going to talk about attracting clients. So first, let's talk about registering your company. The easiest way to do it is use LegalZoom. Now, I make no money from LegalZoom. I don't have a partnership with LegalZoom. I just know that I use LegalZoom, and it's very easy, right? If you have an accountant or a lawyer or a CPA or somebody that you can work with that can do that for you, excellent. I just use LegalZoom because it's fast and it's really easy, and they have great customer service, and it's not expensive at all, right? Okay, so number one, right, you need to figure out what kind of business structure you're going to have. I have an LLC, right? You can have an S Corp, you can have a C Corp, there are various legal structures. Now, I'm not going to tell you which one to choose. And the reason I'm not is because they are very distinct, and there are pros and cons, especially from a taxation perspective. So what I'm going to suggest to you is do your homework, go online and do your research. If you have a lawyer, please go to your lawyer. I do know that NYC Business Solution Centers offer free half-an-hour legal meetings for businesses to help them answer the question of which one makes the most sense for you, okay? Again, there are pros and cons to each. There are tax implications to which one you pick. I'm going to admit something to you. My company at first was an S Corp, and that was not, and I didn't do my due diligence going to a lawyer, and I regretted it. And so I had to close my first company and open it up. I opened up a new one as an LLC. Now, again, I'm not saying go LLC. What I'm saying is everybody is different. Everybody has different needs. Go to an expert to do your online research, go to an expert to determine which one makes sense for you. And again, if you want, I know that NYC Business Solutions Centers, and you can Google those, do offer free half an hour legal advice to determine which one. Okay. Second thing, right? You register your company, right? So, I imagine that a lot of you on this call are New York residents. So you would register your company with New York State or Department of State. Again, if you go through LegalZoom, they do all this. This is a part of the service. You could do this on your own. Go to the Department of State and register your company. But I highly suggest you either use a CPA, an accountant, a lawyer, or go through LegalZoom to do this. LegalZoom will also give you the EIN number from the IRS, which you will need because you're going to be a legitimate business. Again, you could do this on your own if you go online and do your research. And you also have to open up a business account at a bank in the name of your business. And you should get a credit card as well. This will make your taxes so much easier when it comes to determining what expenses pertain to your business. If you're using the same credit card for yourself and your business, it becomes really difficult to manage. I definitely, as soon as I opened up the AMBLYN group, got a Chase account, got my Chase credit card to keep things separate. And then, if you are selling product, right, you have to contact the state and city taxes department because you're going to have to pay sales tax. Services, no. Product, yes. So these are some of the, most important steps when you are launching your business. The other thing is this: when you go to the Department of State, when you're thinking about a name, right? The name of my company is odd because AMBLYN is a combination of all the important women in my life. So A, is myself, and then M is my mom, and L and B, important people in my life, right? So I was lucky in that the name is a little odd. And so it wasn't taken. So it's important for you to go to Department of State to look at the name that you want to pick to determine if it's available, right? Because if somebody else has your name, the name that you're interested in getting, then you're not going to be able to obviously get it. And it's important also to look for the name when it comes to the website domain, but we're going to talk about that, okay? So really important steps. Again, I know I'm sounding like a broken record. Make sure you go either LegalZoom, an accountant, CPA, or lawyer to help you with this. This is important. It has tax implications and can affect you long term. Again, I made the mistake of doing it on my own and, had to close that company down. And then I recreated the LLC. Developing your brand. This is the fun stuff, right? Like I said, I worked at Pepsi, and Amex, and even Marlboro, the Marlboro Man, the Cowboy. So I've had the privilege of working on some really great brands. So this is my so for me, branding is key, right? Today, you look at these symbols, the swoosh, you look at these logos, and these brands, right? They're quintessential. They stay in your mind. People always ask me, do I need a visual logo? No, you don't, right? But if you are a creative company, then it's something that you may want to consider, right? And so a brand can be, like for myself, I don't have a logo, but I am the AMBLYN group. Sometimes I go by tag, TAG, the AMBLYN group, right? And so I have played around with creative ways of showcasing it, not necessarily a logo, but the name itself, right? So a brand is a name, a term, a design, a symbol, or any feature that identifies, right? So this, swoosh is a brand, but it's also Nike, right? So it's important for you when you're considering your logo, a couple of things, right? Interestingly enough, people didn't know this. The Pepsi logo, you see that white curve there? there was a campaign years ago where that white little swoosh there, which looks like a smile, was bigger or smaller based on the amount of caffeine in the product. So like a Pepsi Max, which has a ton, has more caffeine than regular Pepsi, that smile is a lot bigger, right? So it's fun, right? It's personality. Naked, right? Look at Naked Juice. It's very colorful and bright and natural and healthy. We'll pull, the visual is healthy. Look at the ingredients and the sugar content, that's a different story, right? But obviously even the name, Naked, it connotes health. It connotes that there's no preservatives and no additives. It's naked, it's nature. So there's a reason why you pick the name and you pick colors, right? If it just would have been drab, black and white, it's like, who wants to drink that? Fruits, nature, brightness, healthy. Naked did its work when it came to developing its brand, right? Mercedes, powerful, clean, even, masculine. Nike is dynamic. So these are some things for you to consider. Me, I'm more of a modern person, right? So my font is very black and modern. Some people are more romanticized and they prefer script. So it's important for you to consider all these things. And when I work with a client, right, I ask them to fill out a creative brief. You can look that up online. Templates for creative briefs. Some briefs are one page, it can be 1 page long. Some of them are 10 pages long. It doesn't need to be that difficult. But what it does is it gives whoever your graphic artist is direction on what you want from your brand, right? Me, blue is very, harmonious and calm and tranquil. Green is very sustainable and is, being environmentally sound. Red is very money oriented and very, Wall Street and finance, right? Yellow. So colors, our depictions, right, have meaning. So when you're going to create your brand and your logo or your name, or even looking at your website, it's important for you to do your homework and fill out a creative brief so that you understand what it is that you want, what you want the colors to mean, the font, the personality. Do you want to be serious because you're a lawyer, or do you want to be fun because you do interesting jewelry? It's important for you to do this work because that'll drive how your website and how your branding is going to look. Register now, listen, like I said, I don't make money off of GoDaddy. I don't make money off of Bluehost. I don't have partnerships with them. I just use them. There are many other companies that you can use. And so you could go online and do your due diligence and finding out, companies where you can buy domains. But what is important is the name that you choose, right? Yelp.com, easy, Y-E-L-P. Uber.com, easy, U-B-E-R, right? So do not pick long names because people are not going to remember. Short, they're easy to remember. And use keywords too, if you like, right? Especially when I say keywords, words that pertain to your business so that you can be found. Now, like I said, when you go to GoDaddy or one of these other companies where you can purchase your domain or the name, right? www.uber.com. That's a domain name. When you purchase that, you're going to find that sometimes a lot of your name may not be available. Mine is actually AMBLYN.NYC. So meaning instead of it being www.amblyn.com, mine is AMBLYN.NYC. My company's here in New York. I focus my business on New York. So that's an interesting way of you to be able to be able to purchase your the company name if it's not available. Now, it's important for you to do your due diligence. And what do I mean? If you like, calmflowers.com, right? and you look it up and you're like, oh, calmflowers.com is not available, but calmflowers.nyc is available. Go to goflowers.com, right, and see what's there. If there's nothing there and it's just that somebody purchased the name but they're not using it, fine. But you don't want to be the one that has calmflowers.nyc, because NYC is not as popular, and people automatically are going to put .com, and you're going to have a lot of competition, right? So what I'm saying is this: don't when you go and buy your domain, if it's not available and you want to use another extension, that's fine, but make sure that the .com is not in use, because you don't want to create even more competition that essentially will take from your business. Okay. Now, choose an e-commerce platform. Again, I'm not paid by these guys, but they're very well known. Do your due diligence, go online, put e-commerce platforms, competition, and there are pros and cons to each. But these just tend to be very, very popular, right? So spend some time researching them. But a lot of people today use Wix, they use Squarespace, and the great majority use, Shopify. Again, there are others out there, but this is if you want to create your own website. And I'm saying that for a reason. And, later in the presentation, I'll explain the why. But if you're going to create your own website, these are some companies, right, that have templates already so that you can build your website. Now, let's talk about website design. Like I said, when we were talking about your branding and writing your creative brief and understanding, your font, your color, are you very modern? So you want your website to be clean, or, or are you more innovative and more creative and you want there to be a lot of color and a lot of splash and a lot of movement, right? These are things that when you're building your website, you need to know. What colors? So like I said, yellow is happy and sunshine. Green is sustainability and, Earth Day and being good for the environment. Blue is more calming and relaxing. So if you want to open up a spa or spa services or massages, blue might be the color for you. If you're going to launch a brokerage firm or you want to help people with their finances, red might be the appropriate one for you, right? So it's important for you to have an understanding of color, and you do online research and talk about the psychology of color and what color means to people, so that you could have an understanding of how to build your website, right? The other thing is, when you're building your website, you want it to be, and I know this is pretty obvious, but you want it to be user friendly, and you want it to be so that people can find things very easily. So something is even, nowadays, I use the search button all the time, whether I'm going to Macy's or Nordstrom's or Bloomingdale's or whatever. Sometimes I'm not even going to pick women's, shoes, sneakers. Sometimes, nowadays, not even sometimes, most times now, I just go straight to the search button and put exactly what I want. Give people that option, the convenience of it. Make it as user-friendly as possible. Today, if you're building your website today, or if you've built it, within the last year, it's automatic that websites are what we call responsive. And what I mean by that is that you could see it, on your desktop, on your laptop, but also, you could see it on your phone. Meaning, I don't know if you've experienced this. I think most of us have. When you have an old school website, right, that is not mobile responsive, you have to kind of pinch out because the font is very small and it's not mobile responsive, meaning it won't change, right, the view based on the type of equipment that you're using. So a traditional website, however you see it, on a desktop, is how you're going to see it on your mobile, so your iPad or your phone. Whereas mobile ones, the view will change. So you'll see a lot of information. What you see on a desktop is completely different how you see on your laptop. And today, that's an expectation that websites be mobile responsive. So if you're using Wix or if you're using Squarespace or Shopify today, that won't be a problem. It's more if your website is a little more dated that you should consider upgrading it. Pictures are huge. What pictures also do is help you with SEO, search engine optimization, organic, meaning they're going to find you easier when they do a Google search. We're going to talk about that later. The same thing with product descriptions. That's going to help you with SEO, meaning being found on Google. But overall, this also helps the client. And so don't just have one picture. Have a picture of if you're selling product, right? Have the front, the side, the back, especially if it's food, have, a picture of the ingredients. And I know this might be obvious, but trust me, as a marathon Amazon user, right? It's really unsettling when the number of times when I've seen pictures and it's very blurry. So spend the money on good, crisp pictures. And when I say spend the money, today, iPhones take such great, clear pictures that you don't need to, hire a professional photographer to do that. You could do it yourself, assuming you have good equipment, right? But make sure that you use nice, crisp, clear pictures, because that's an expectation of the client, of the customer, as well as very good descriptions of the product, right? Not only ingredients, but how you use it too. And of course, payments. Make sure that you have various options, obviously credit card, but also PayPal and some other payment options, because it is an expectation. So here we have an example, right, of Sephora. And so this is an example of Moroccan oil, which I'm a huge fan of. They have good pictures, clear pictures. They have product descriptions, different sizes, the cost, and it's very clean. And also reviews, which I highly recommend, right? Because I am an avid reader of reviews, whether it's TripAdvisor, whether it's Amazon. Today, now more than ever, people depend on reviews. So make sure that you add that option, that service to your website, allowing people to be able to review and offer, good opportunity to about their opinions and testimonials about your product or service. So, generally, this is an exercise that I would do with the people that I teach interactive, right? Saying, what are some of the pros and cons of this, of different websites, right? So I'll talk a little bit about this. Like I said, I am a huge, Amazon user. So the fact that I am able to, as you see on the top middle, use my Amazon Prime account, that's great, right? So that's a really great benefit, because today, especially after COVID, we've all become very used to using Amazon, right? You also see free shipping and free returns, right? So especially if you're a first-time user, you're not quite sure of the product, if it's going to fit, if you like it, etc. This free returns is makes purchases less risky, right? Here, you have the opportunity to buy product, whether it's on the top left, the US. If you want to change, it could be other countries. If you want it in English or in another language, Spanish, Chinese, etc. If you want it in dollars or other currency. So the site is giving you a lot of flexibility. This Shopbop, is a clothing retailer. They mostly focus on women, even though it says Shop Men's on the upper right. but you could see that if this is the homepage, it's mostly geared towards women. And this is during, you know, Mother's Day promotion, so gifts for mom. And on the bottom, you can sign up, right? Which is great because that'll give you email so that you can communicate with the client. So, you know, having this sign up email is crucial when you're developing your e-commerce site. And then again, look, offering a discount for first purchase. So again, removing the risk, right, of a first-time purchase. So you're incenting them to sign up, right? Give you their email so you can communicate by giving them this discount. So it's a win-win. This one, you know, I like for various reasons. It's clean, so it's more of my aesthetic. The other one was a little cluttered for me. There's a lot going on. It's very clear, right? This is bulletproof. They're into nutraceuticals and, you know, protein shakes, etc. So it's nice. It's clean. You know, not cluttered. They talk to you about free shipping over $35. The call to action is very clear. Buy now. It gives you the offer, the 15%. You know, opportunities here, yes, they don't have a sign up. They don't have, you know, the search is not very clear, even though it is there in the upper right, right? They could have made it a little bit more obvious. But this is, again, a company that has not as many SKUs or products as Shopbot did, right? So, but it very clearly states what it does, right? High performance food, drinks, and supplements to power your life. So if, you know, I know as soon as I get to this homepage, what it is that they offer. So that's key for you as well, you know, writing right away what you're about, good, clean pictures, call to action, buy now. So those are some of the best practices with this website. And then this third website, Sabon, they're a company that sells more body oils and soaps and more of the, you know, beauty products, right? Again, they're focusing on Mother's Day. They do have a sign up, right? A sign, you know, give us your email and get a discount, which is great. Their search is very clear. They only have really on the upper right, only have 4, 1, 2, 3, 5 drop down, you know, in the nav, which is great. So it's not too overwhelming. You can earn points. Here, they probably could have been a little bit more descriptive about what it is that they do. You could see here beauty products, but what makes them different, special compared to all the other beauty products, right? But what is good is on the upper left, they have About Us. So if you do want to learn more about their products, you could click there, right? And here they have free shipping again on, you know, orders of a certain spend. So, you know, it helps clients kind of reduce their overall costs. And then on the right side, you know, the nice picture of the product, product details, very clean. So these are some of the best practices when it comes to going to a website and seeing the product. So now that you understand your company, understand your competition, and understand your consumer, now that you understand what it takes, right, that you know you want to establish an e-commerce site and you've decided to do so, you have your brand, you have your logo, you've bought your domain, you've built your website, you have, you know, a company structure. Now that you've done all that and you have your website, now what do? Well, you have to drive traffic to your website, right? Just because you build it does not mean they will come. You have to drive traffic there. So these are, I guess, you know, this one page has a lot of information, so we're going to spend a little time on it. But these are the digital interactive ways, right, that you can drive foot traffic to your website. Number one is obviously social media. So what are some options? We all know Facebook, we all know Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Pinterest, YouTube, and on and on and on, right? So people always ask me which one they should use. So I said, first of all, you have to analyze social media, meaning there's certain social media outlets that pertain to certain target audiences, right? So let's take Lululemon. What did we say Lululemon, who the gender was? Women, right? So if you know that Lululemon's target audience is women, which social media outlet would you recommend for them? Well, for sure, number one, Pinterest, right? Pinterest is something like 80 to 90% utilized by women, right? And Pinterest is very much about visuals. Now, fashion, food, right? Travel, all of these are very visually oriented, right? So Pinterest, which is visuals, will be important for these types of industries, but so is Instagram, visuals, food items for foodies, working out, jewelry, clothing, Instagram is very much geared towards that. Excuse me, take a little sip of water. So again, for Lululemon, we would absolutely recommend Instagram and Pinterest. Facebook today is almost like a website. It's almost like if, it provides legitimacy to a company so that if you don't have a Facebook page, you're almost like, well, why not? It's almost like there's a hierarchy. I have to do Facebook. And then what else do I have to do? So, Twitter, obviously there are visuals, but that's very much about copy and so that's why you see like journalists, political people in politics and elected officials use it, comedians, quick-witted, because again, there are limitations in terms of the number of words that you can use, right? Yes, today you can use, you can upload pictures and videos onto Twitter, but still it's the main copy or hashtags that get you really enthralled and bring you in. So it's not as visual as some of the other ones. But in the end, right, because you could choose to do all of them, or you could choose to do some of them. What you have to understand is whatever you decide to do, you need to do it well, and you need to be consistent. So consistent, let's start with consistent. You can't just, post a day and then post in a month and then post in 3 months. You have to be consistent. If you're going to do digital media, right? If you're going to do social media, you have to post a certain number of times a week and be consistent. What is that? Some people say every day. Some people say 3 to 5 times a week, right? Some of the experts. I'm not going to say every day, but at least 3 times a week, because again, this is not only keeping you top of mind, but so that your clients and customers and people that have communications with know that you're out there. Now, the other piece is well done, and what I mean is ensure that if you're going to upload pictures, that they're crisp, clear, that they're engaging, that they really showcase your brand or your person in the best possible way, right? And it's not just about the visual, it's also about what you write. So make sure that you are using very neutral language. Don't take positions on religion or politics or things that are happening in media today, because that can get you. I'm not of the mindset of any publicity is good publicity. Especially as we know, cancel culture, creating or stirring conflict, is not something that you want to do, especially when you're a fledgling brand, right? So make sure that your language is very neutral, and make sure you use hashtags. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later. So that's social media. Search engine optimization, or SEO. What that means is, right, and let's be real, right? Let's say I put, you know, jewelry made out of wood on Google, right? I'm only gonna stick to that first page. Rare is the time that I go to the second page to find out what comes up. If I don't find what I need on that first page, all I'm gonna do is change what it is, instead of, jewelry made out of wood, I'm gonna change the convention or the words, the search words, right? 97% of people do that too. They don't go to the second page. Rare is the time. So you really want to be on that first page. And the way in which you do that is, number one, having a great website. Like I said, clear pictures, descriptions, keywords throughout, but also social media helps with that. Blogging helps with that. So, and doing partnerships with other companies that link back to your website, or even your social media, all that increases your SEO. Now, mind you, there are companies, boutique agencies that just focus on SEO and help businesses get on that first page. So I would highly recommend their courses on SEO, or you could do your own research, look on YouTube, look on Google, but there are absolutely, ways of best practices of helping you get on that, search engine on the first page of Google, which is what you want. SEM are those ads. So when you do your search, right, the first couple of options, on that first Google page are ads, and you could pay to be in that position, right? A client of mine is doing PPP loans, right? And so he is paying, a certain amount of money for every time somebody clicks through that ad, right? And he said, I don't want to spend more than $50 a day, so that if somebody puts PPP, loan, his ad will come up, and he'll only get charged if somebody clicks through there, right? And so, he can only, he's allocated so that, after so many number of clicks, after the $50, the ads won't be seen. And that amount of click through, how that is determined is by the words that he uses, right? Today, PPP can be quite expensive, right, and very competitive, because there are a lot of lenders out there, Chase and Citi and so many others, that want you to get their PPP loan with them. Jewelry is expensive, cameras, so that if, my keyword, if I put in a Google search and I put camera, right, I'm going to come, brands are going to come up that, with ads, right, pertaining to camera, and that's going to be expensive. There's certain words that are not so popular that are going to be cheaper, right? So search engine marketing, and again, there are courses, do your research, you can YouTube and find out about SEM, but that is ads that you're paying for. SEO is really about, it is free in that it's really optimizing your website and your marketing and your social media and your blogs to drive you to the first page. Collecting emails, that's why incenting people, giving them discounts so that you can get their email is great, so that you can communicate with your clients regularly and sending them emails about new products, holiday offers, new services, etc. Influencers. Influencers are people that have huge following on social media, and they are paid to promote a brand, right? So, Serena Williams is a huge influencer, right? And so she's also a spokesperson for brands like, Nike and others. But, the Kardashians are huge influencers, so that if you wanted them to, obviously you'd have to pay a lot of money, right? But if you have a new product or a new service, and they will talk to their millions of followers, right, on social media about the product, and you could potentially get huge sales. But of course, Kardashians are going to charge a lot. There are multi-million-dollar influencers, and there are micro influencers, and there are influencers in between. Micro influencers, and I teach a course on influencers, by the way, are people that have small, right, a number of followers, maybe 10 to 20,000, but those followers are really, really loyal. And these micro influencers don't charge a lot. And it's a great opportunity for you to get your brand out there. It's a great opportunity. Sometimes, in fact, they won't even charge you. You give them the product for free. And if they like it, they will talk about it. Obviously, the influencers that have followers between, 20,000 and 100,000, they'll charge you, not so much, but that is a great way of getting your product in front of a huge following of people. But if you're going to use influencers, do your due diligence on the influencer. Do background checks on them, right? Look at their previous posts, look at their videos on YouTube. You want to make sure that they represent you correctly. If you have certain mission statement and certain vision and certain things that you believe in, and this influencer is not and can be a little radical for you, it could negatively affect your brand. So make sure you do your due diligence with influencers. And then finally, blogs. Blogging just means on your website, you're writing articles. It could be once a month. It could be, once a week. But this really does help with SEO or search engine optimization in driving people to your website. And blogs, obviously, like I said, these articles live on your website, and they'll have keywords so that people, when they do Google searches, your blog will come up. So it's important. Plus, it'll establish you as a subject matter expert, and it's content too. And then you can email your clients about your new blogs, which will drive them to your website, and potentially you can get more sales. So blogging is really great. So website analytics. And this is free. So when you create your website, you want to make sure that you attach Google Analytics. Again, it's free. So what you do is, once you have your domain and once you launch your site, you go and do a Google search, Google Analytics, and that'll give you the process on how you attach your website to Google Analytics. And you're probably asking, why do I want to attach my domain, my website, www or AMBLYN.NYC, to Google Analytics? The reason is because it's going to give you insane amounts of data, of information, namely like, how many new visitors did I get today, or this week, or this month? How many of them are returning? Which page did they go to mostly? What gender are they? What country or what city? Is it mostly computer, or are they mostly using their mobile phone? And the next page is really key. This is an example of the type of data that Google Analytics shows you, right? So as you can see, from October 27th through November 12th, I had a huge increase in the number of sessions. A session is site visits, right? 15%. And so on the bottom, 12,696 sessions, right? Pages per session. This is how many pages they visited, 1.12. So they primarily went in and visited one page and then left. Average session was 20 seconds. So it was a little short, they didn't really spend a lot of time. So maybe this website needs more content and needs to be more engaging. So out of that, 7.56% of them were new sessions. So increase of new clients to the site. This is an important number, bounce rate. Bounce rate is when somebody goes to a website and realizes, oh no, that's not what I wanted, and leaves. 49% of this site was a bounce rate. That's not good. That means that maybe on your Google page, in your description, you haven't put exactly what it is that your website, either the details and the descriptions of what your site is, right? You didn't put it clearly, or maybe you haven't even added it at all, or maybe even the homepage doesn't exactly explain what it is that you're offering, or maybe you made it difficult to search. There's so many reasons why. My point is, you do not want 49% bounce rate means that almost half the people that went into your site left right away. So you want to work on this. Again, make your website easy, make sure it has search, make sure that you put exactly what you're about, on the main page. You want to decrease this number. So having Google Analytics is key. Now, on the upper right, you see that circle? It tells you how it is that people got to your website. So display. So when you go to like CNN.com and you see ads, right, on the side as you're reading, that's a display ad. So 2,500 people came to this site through display. Social. 1,800 people came to the site through social media. So maybe they saw your Instagram, or maybe they went, to your Facebook account and they clicked to your site from there. So that's why it's important on your Instagram and on your Facebook and Twitter, right? On that upper part with your bio and a description, that you have links to your site. So, because this is the way in which you're going to generate leads and drive people conversions to your site. Email. So 1,800 people came through an email, right? So maybe you sent an email right to your distribution to people who you have email. Maybe you sent it to me and then I forwarded to, my friends. So maybe I went through, clicked through, and maybe my friend did as well. So it's through email. Paid search. So that's what I said before. Google Ads. So it really is. An organic search. I just went to Google. Put in some keywords, your website popped up, and then I clicked through it. So it gives you huge data. And so that you know what is working and what is not working. Clearly, those display ads are working very well if you got 2,500 hits. So those ads within websites like CNN, right? Email, so 1,800, that's great, so that you know that the email campaign that you ran, it's working. Paid search. So again, those Google ads, because that costs money, that was successful because 1,200 people came through it. So Google Analytics is huge. It's a huge part of the equation in terms of understanding if you're being successful with your website. Now, let's say you don't want to launch your own e-commerce site because whatever, that might be too much. There are other ways in which you could create your own marketplace underneath the marketplace. So eBay, Rakuten, Jet, Walmart Marketplace, Etsy, obviously Amazon. So you don't have to create your own website from scratch. You could just go to Amazon and create your own subpage under Amazon. Create your own subpage under Etsy. A lot of people do this because it's cheaper, it's easier, and these marketplaces already have foot traffic, right? I'm already going to Amazon. I'm already going to Etsy, right? So instead of me having to start from scratch driving foot traffic to my site, I'll just build my sub-site within these sites that already have foot traffic and already have a brand name associated with them. So that's another option too. So I know we have 2 more minutes since this ends at 11:30. So these are some of the best practices, right? With your website, when you're creating your website, make sure it is clean, it is easy, you're collecting your navigation, right? Your drop downs, don't have too many of them, avoid too much clutter, don't have too many drop downs, make it easy. Add a search bar and be clear that it's a search bar. Like I said, I use search now more than ever. People have less time, everybody's busy, so make it easy. Buy a premium web hosting service. And what that means is this. The more expensive or the more premium web service, the faster your website will be, so that it doesn't take a long time to load a page. Because again, we have ADD and we have no patience, and the longer it takes to for a website to refresh, the more impatient people become, and then they'll leave, right? Especially bounce rates are huge because of that slow page, the page coming up. So invest in that. make your checkout easy. You know, I'm so glad when, you know, it auto populates, or when, you know, it just makes my, you know, process just 2 pages versus like, you know, 5 minutes of me entering information and asking for a lot of information that you don't even need. Make it easy. I always go in as guest when I shop. I don't like creating profiles. In the end, I regret it because I'm like, ugh, I could have set up the profile because I'm always here. But give people that option, you know, if they want to sign up as a guest so that they don't have to take the extra time and steps to create their own profile. I faux shop all the time. What's faux shopping? Fake shopping. Meaning, I'll go in and I'll love things and I'll put it in my cart and I'm like, oh, okay, you know, and then I forget. I'll tell you what, the number of times that I get emails reminding me that I have stuff in my cart and then I go back and I buy it, I can't even tell you. So that is a great retargeting strategy, emailing people to remind them what they have in their cart, because it'll be top of mind again. You'll remind them, and then, you know, you have a higher percentage of a conversion and of a sale. Customer reviews and testimonials, like I said, I use them all the time. TripAdvisor, Amazon, you know, Sephora, all the time. So give them the opportunity to be able to review, you know, even if it's a bad review, as long as you respond and you do right by them. Again, having an e-commerce site is cheaper than having a real store, but you have to invest in customer service. You must, because that is the expectation, right? There's a lot of competition out there, and you for sure have to offer really great, fast communication, consistent communication, and great customer service. Offer discount for first-time shoppers, absolutely, especially, you know, the collection of the email, because this is how you're going to continuously communicate with them. And of course, offer free shipping, or if you can't really, you know, especially at the beginning, do that, free shipping after, you know, a $50 or $75 purchase. Offer them an incentive, especially if it's their first time doing business with you. Once you get them hooked, once there's loyalty, they won't care so much. But, you know, especially at the beginning, offer free service, free shipping. And that's it. And 11:32, Francisco, you must be proud. I finished, you know, on time.
As always, Angelina, you are the best. No question about it. Well, thank you so much, Angelina. There's a few questions on the chat, but before that, I still see people requesting a copy of the link to the recording and a copy of the presentation. In the chat, it's not going to work. You have to send me an email requesting that, and then I'll send it to you. So let's see, Angelina, are you able to see the Q&A?
Yep.
Okay,
Let's
so
see.
maybe you could answer some of those questions before we wrap it up.
Did Amazon compete on price and then take over the Western Hemisphere? They did compete on price, and they still compete on price. You know, opinions aside, you know, it's a competitive marketplace in that, you know, it's democratized. So Francisco and I could be selling the same thing, but maybe Francisco, you know, has better customer service. Maybe Francisco offers free shipping. Maybe Francisco has lower price point. Maybe Francisco is an approved Prime, you know, customer, you know, client or vendor, right? So as much as, yes, there's you know, there's price competition. You know, in the end, reviews matter, you know, and customer service matters too. Okay.
Angelina, before you respond to the next question, I saw something in I think in the chat, the contact information. If people want to get in touch with you, where would they get in touch with you?
Yeah. Hold on. I have it here. Angelina at AMBLYN.NYC. I'm so sorry. Generally, my last page has my email if they have any inquiries or questions. Oh, there it is. I thought so. Yeah.
Go ahead, Angelina.
Okay. All right. So Okay. Mm-hmm.
We're going through the questions, so please
Could you please go
be
back to the
patient.
demographic side? I want to see the reference you cited of the company you used to gather data. Okay, let's see. Demographics. Oh, demographics, that's the US Census. So that is the, especially now, you know, I think next, at the end of this year, we're going to get really great results, you know, because census is done every 10 years. They do mid ones, kind of projections. But when it comes to demographics, the United States Census is really the way to go. Is it a benefit to have an e-commerce account? Well, yes, compared to having, if you're talking about versus brick and mortar, meaning a retail store, absolutely. It's more efficient, it's more effective. Like I said, I think this page, when it comes to e-commerce, when I define e-commerce, is really the way to go. You know, here we go, right? It's 24/7, you know, global, right? It's easy to find product, and just, you know, to launch an e-commerce business is so much easier than a retail one. So yes, absolutely, there is benefit. Francisco, I think that's it.
Okay, great. That's great. I still see people are requesting the copy of the link on the chat. Again, once again, email is the only way that you're going to get it. You have to send me an email requesting it. In the chat, it's not going to work.
Oh,
Anyway,
sorry, I did not see. I was seeing chat, not questions. Okay, now let me see. I love Pepsi. What happened to the Pepsi with 60% less sugar? It was great. Let's see. So say I have a business name such as XYZ Media, but two different websites, say website A, website B that the company runs. Do you know of anything that needs to be done differently as far as initial business startup? Like I said, you know, you want to make sure that people find you. So you want your name to be easy, short, distinct, spelled in a way that they're going to be able to find you. And you don't want it to be too close to somebody, another company that has that same name, because, you know, people are not going to be able to, especially if you're new, you're going to be very low on that first Google search page. So make sure that your name is differentiated enough and not too close to a competition, because as a startup, you're really starting from scratch. Hold on. Do you recommend starting with a site on Etsy before setting up your own site? Yes, you absolutely can. If you want to do baby steps, it's a great way, especially if you don't have a lot of marketing dollars. It takes a marketing budget, you know, like I said, Google ads, ads within other websites, social media, it takes funding. So if you want to build your brand and build loyalty on Amazon, on Etsy, and then go and then launch your own, absolutely do it. It's a nice way of doing it in an organized fashion. Google Analytics, what does it mean direct? Direct means that somebody literally went to your site, right? Not that I went to Instagram and then clicked on the website, not that I went to Facebook and clicked on the link, not that I saw an ad on Google. It's that I literally in the bar typed in the name of the website. That's what direct means. It didn't come from anywhere else. I knew the website name and I typed it in and I went to it. Let's see. Yeah, so it says, could I simply set up LinkedIn page for the company before launching a website, or would you recommend doing both at the same time? So, LinkedIn is great. I use it. It's my resume of sorts, and it's a way of people being able to find me, especially when they're doing search or through my connections. but you really can't do a lot of sales there. Especially if it's a product, right? I get tons of emails all the time from people sending me, hey, do you need financial help? Do you need a loan? Or do you need marketing? Do you want me to revamp your website? So it's great sales to drive awareness, but people still need to find you somewhere. So whether it's within a marketplace, whether it's, your own website, even Facebook. Today, a lot of people consider a website. They don't have a website and they have a Facebook page. LinkedIn, I don't think has reached that point yet. So I think LinkedIn with a Facebook, LinkedIn with an Etsy, or LinkedIn with your own site would be fine, but not on its own. Can you attach Google Analytics to an Instagram account? No, it's a website. Instagram has its own insights, by the way. So, you could see also a lot of foot traffic. You could see demographics. You could see which days when you posted did the best, what times did the best. So Instagram has its own amazing analytics, as does Facebook. Facebook also has amazing analytics. So you don't need to attach Google Analytics. Google Analytics is for websites. So I think that's it. Did you want me to answer some more?
No, I think that's it because we're running out of time. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. Again, if you want a copy of the link to the presentation, is my email is francisco.guzman@esd.ny.gov. You're going to be receiving a survey. That survey is very, very helpful for us to do a better, so we could do a better job and we definitely follow your directions. I mean, a lot of things for this year is because of the answers that you provided us in the survey that we sent out. So next week, Wednesday, we're going to have starting a nonprofit, a practical guide. We have a lot of good things coming. Especially now, we talked about online business, doing business online, setting up your e-commerce. There's an important workshop on the 20. Let's see, when is it? The 31st. Doing business online. There is legal aspect that you have to make sure that you follow when you do business online. So March 31st we're going to be talking about that. And of course, before that, we're going to talk about email. I think I missed a couple one. So the email marketing, that's before that. And then also talking about e-commerce, how to set up and operate your Amazon account, uh, business on e-commerce with Amazon, and then Facebook, patents, etc. We have a lot of good stuff coming up. That's all I got to say. So thank you for joining. And again, I see that many of you already sent and are sending now the request for the link to the recording. You will get it as soon as the system generates it, most likely this afternoon. And what can I say? Thank you so much. I mean, I really appreciate you joining. We are open for business. If you need any help, just give us a call. Contact me, francisco.guzman@esd.ny.gov, 212-961-4169. And thanks so much, Angelina. Great job. Great job. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. And I hope to see you Wednesday for Nonprofit. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day.